So where we at? So let me end with this. Let me conclude in that I don't know where we're going here. I don't know what we're doing here. But what God is about to do, what God is doing is more than teaching, more than words, more than gifts. It's about a presence. It's about an authentic sense of something, a shift, a presence that you feel, a heaviness. I don't mean heavy as in bad, but heavy as in the Shekinah, the glory of God. There's a presence coming that's going to shut down everything that's performance. It's going to shut it down. It's going to shut it down. And that presence, I've seen it. I've had visions of it. I've heard it. I've heard, again, a door. I adore. I mean, I'm in a meeting, in a conference before I'm ready to speak in this auditorium about 20 years ago. And before I'm ready to speak, I go into a vision, and I'm out of my body for just a minute or two, and I hear the left door of this auditorium open. The worship team is playing this wonderful. There's speakers there. There were other people. Everybody was good. I was fine. I didn't have any problems. They didn't have any problems. It was going to be a great conference. It was all right. Nothing wrong with it. It's just a higher order. The Lord showed me something that's coming that's going to be so amazing, I think. And the door opened. As the door opened, the Lord himself walked in the door. And as he walked in, the presence of his presence filled the place, and the worship team fell to the floor. Everybody fell to the floor. Everybody on the stage fell down the floor under the power and the presence of God. And this quiet, this deafening silence was in the room. And only the Lord, for the Lord is in his holy place. Let all heaven and earth keep silent, the scripture said. And this silence, this golden silence, fill the room. To open your mouth and teach something or show something or do something would have been an absurd mistake. It was like because the holiness of God was in the room, and the Lord walked in front of the rows that we were sitting in, the speakers were sitting in, and as he walked past and turned the aisle, as he walked by sovereignly, people that came with arthritis was healed. People that came with blind eyes were open. It would just happen instantaneously. Marriages were healed. Things were happening. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And the scripture was so clear to me when I came out of that. Let every mouth, be quiet and silent, for the Lord is in his house. I see the Lord coming to do that. Now, it doesn't mean we don't stop equipping, doesn't mean we don't stop praying for people, doesn't mean, but there's something so big. There's such an infusion of heaven coming to earth, as Bill Johnson would say, heaven invading earth, and such a way that it's monumental. It's going to disrupt a lot of things. Not that anything we're doing is wrong at all. It's just so much weightier. It's so much bigger that we are going to fall under the power and the presence of that. And God can accomplish in a few minutes more than we can accomplish in a lot of work. Just a few minutes. And can he save a nation in one night? Yes, he can. Can he change it in one day? Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. But it may not be about us standing up. It may be about us falling down. Guess what Aaron did when he fell before the Lord? That's what a lot of the Old Testament, what Moses did, they, in a sense, fell down before the presence of God, the Shekinah of God. So, this season we're in, let me conclude with this. It's a season, and you know that. Seasons come and seasons go. We think seasons are terminal. Seasons are never terminal at all. When God created your destiny, even your extraordinary destiny, he factored ordinary seasons into the equation of your life. They're not much of just ordinary seasons, but they're part of the makeup of what God is doing. There is an extraordinary destiny and a season of destiny he has for us, but he has factored just ordinary seasons into our life. Seasons are the product of divine intention, but your season comes with a promise of change. No season ever lasts forever, ever. Look at the trees, look at nature. You want to see God, look at nature. So until a new season comes, be faithful and serve in the season. Be patient, don't give up. Remember, God-appointed seasons in front of you is greater than the storm that swirls around you. You cannot make seasons come. You cannot make seasons go. You don't find seasons, seasons find you. I'm going to go cross-current against probably a lot of my peers who believe this. I don't believe we make revival happen. I believe revival makes us happen. On the day of Pentecost, they weren't trying to do it. The sound didn't come from them. It came from heaven. It was a season that they were in. And we're sitting right at the edge of that season. Everything comes to pass. Nothing ever comes to stay. If you live for 2 years in your life, you know that there's nothing you can do about seasons. They come and they go, winter, spring, summer, fall. And when it comes winter, and this winter for us in a lot of ways, growing up in the woods of Arkansas, hunting and walking through the woods in the wintertime and things, I just was always struck by the trees and how they would stand there silent with no leaves on them. And all of the sap is down to the ground. Just like somebody should cut them down. If anybody doesn't understand seasons, they would not just cut them all down. These things are dead. And I was watching or looking at this grove of trees when I was a young man in the wintertime in Arkansas. And I was thinking about, wow, look at them. They did what they were just there waiting, and their branches were this way. No leaves on them, but their branches were extended to heaven because they intuitively know that it'll come to pass, that winter will eventually pass and spring will come. For behold, I will do a new thing. But the old thing, you can't determine how long it's going to last. Seasons are in God's hand. Ecclesiastes, the wisest man in the Bible, other than Jesus and God, said that for everything in life, there's a purpose, there's a time, and there's a seasons. There's a season for this, a season for that. So we're not in control of seasons. So all we can do is serve, be faithful, be hopeful in the season, and know that no matter how difficult it has been, or the season that we've been in, no matter how cold it's been, no matter how much of the leaves have been stripped from us, spring will always come, and it has nothing to do with anything you do or don't do other than just persevere. Well, that's not faith. Oh, listen, the greatest work of the Spirit in your life and in my life is to learn how to persevere. The greatest. Because that's the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing not to be successful or not to be fruit-bearing, especially out of season. It's impossible. You can't bear fruit out of season. So it's not about you. It's about the season. It's not about your fruit. It's not about you. It's not about the tree. It's about the season. And that's, if I can say it, that's what I'm trying to say to you about this year and the next year and the next year, at least this year to the next 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years, there's a season shift that's coming. I can feel it. I can smell it. I feel when fall comes in the South, if our spring comes. I don't know if you're from the South, you can smell that smell. You feel there's something. You feel that sense. There's something in the air that is a precursor to a shift that's going to be catastrophically different. And that's going to cause us to be fruitful again. It's going to cause us to blossom. It's going to cause the tree to be strong again. This nation, our lives, this generation, although as bad as it is not doomed whatsoever, as long as there's even one Joseph in the bottom of a prison, waiting until his time comes. The word of the Lord tried him. So count this. Count this as true, maybe. What if it is not the devil that's beating, that you're feeling? What if it's not the devil's harassment that you're going through? What if it's not all the stuff the devil's trying to, what if it's not the devil at all? What if it's just the season you're in and it's a God season? What if it's just a season? So what do you do in a season? What does a tree do in a season? It takes a sap. Sap doesn't go to the top and say, I'm all that, look at this, and I can blossom. The sap goes all the way down to the roots, and the tree stands there in the dead of winter with no leaves and the bark scuffed on the tree and nothing happening. But never, unless there's an ice storm, do the limbs fall off. The limbs are raised to the heavens. And sometimes I just feel like that tree. You maybe feel like that tree this season we've been in, but I smell spring. I smell it in the Spirit. I smell it. A season. Listen, for He's made all things beautiful in their season. And if you can handle it, even winter is beautiful in its season. Because nothing but that season can work in you what needs to be working you to prepare you for fruit-bearing season that's coming. I think we live right now in a church world, in a ministry world, where everybody wants 100% season summer, 4 seasons a year. No winter, no fall, no spring. That's not how God is. God created seasons for a reason and a purpose, to shape us, to develop us, to mature us, to weather us, and to cause us to blossom and bloom at the right time, to give us time to rest, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.